Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nellie and I love to read. And if you're here, it's probably because you love to read too, so we should be friends. Today is a special day because exactly 1 week from today is my birthday. So obviously I make a big deal about the week leading up to my birthday. You only get so many birthdays, so why not make a big deal out of it? Anyways, I thought it would be fun to do a full day of book shopping, kind of like a little bookstore crawl, and see how many bookstores we can fit in basically in 24 hours, but really just today. And so I just dropped my son off. I drop him off around 8:40, and so generally there's no bookstores open until 10 except for one. So we are at the first bookstore that opens at 9 a.m. and that is Barnes. I'm actually excited to have a longer time walking around Barnes because generally when I go to Barnes, I'm in a hurry. It's either right before it's closing because I've just put my kids to bed, my husband's home with them, and then I get to run in for like 30 minutes before it closes, if that. Or I'm going with my kids, and obviously that is just not as calming. It's quite chaotic, and I don't tend to stay for longer than like 30 minutes with them, and I'm trapped in the kids section. So really excited for that. If you can't tell by my voice, I've been afflicted. I can't tell if it's allergies or a sinus infection. I'm thinking it might end up being a sinus infection, but I was totally laid out yesterday, just could not do much of anything at all other than read, which is fine. But I also had a horrible night's sleep. I really have tons of packing to get done. My house is a disaster, the disaster that comes with moving. But rather than doing that after a day of just feeling horrible, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to cancel today and have a good day, a day full of self-care to help me feel better. And so that's what we're going to do. So without further ado, we are going to go straight into Barnes. I don't actually know what I'm looking for at Barnes, so I'm just going to kind of look around and see what's there, and we'll just kind of go from there. I also brought my camera, but forgot my little camera stand, so today we're just going to be vlogging like we're on FaceTime because I do have to hold you guys up. Should be fun, should be a little more intimate, we'll see how it goes. But the store just opened, so let's go in and see what we can find. Literally crouched down on the floor here, but I'm really excited because they have a book that I haven't been able to find literally anywhere in store. So I'm wondering if it's a sign that I get it here. I had put it on my birthday list, so I need to check first to make sure that no one's bought it for me out of my family because I just told them to get me books for my birthday. Like I don't really need anything else. It's In the Veins of Drowning. I've heard such great things about this. This is supposed to be like an atmospheric siren book. That's a horrible explanation. It has I don't know what it's called when someone writes something on the front of the book. What is that? I can't remember, but it has a blurb. That's what it is. It has a blurb from one of my favorite authors, which is Rachel Gillig, and I think she can do no wrong in my eyes. So, do I get this? I need to check first and make sure no one's gotten it for me. Just finished up at Barnes & Noble. I ended up getting the membership. I've never actually gotten it before. Wow, I can't keep my camera on me for some reason. Let me just settle myself here. Okay, so we are all done at Barnes, and I ended up pulling the trigger on the paid membership. I've been wanting to trial it for a year, and I figured what better time to start it than my birthday month, because I feel like I might be doing more book purchases than normal this month. My sister's kids are also big readers, and they always use my account as well, and we just like rack up points and then we share the rewards. And so I figured, what the heck, why don't we just try it and see if we like it for a year. If we feel like it's not worth it, then I won't renew it next year. I was really excited because they give you a free tote with your paid membership, and I've seen these bags around and I've always wanted one, but normally they're like $20, and I just am kind of like, okay, well, I don't really need to spend $20 on a tote bag, right? But I am obsessed with it, and I feel like I'm gonna be using it. It's like the perfect color for fall to just throw things in, especially if I'm going book shopping or things like that. And so yeah, anyways, I feel like it'll be better if I just do a big book haul at the end of the day. And so we're just gonna go to the next place. I have 2 Goodwills near me that I want to hit up. I'm gonna go to the further one at the end of this street that has a smaller book selection, and then we're gonna go to the one with a bigger book selection. And then after that, we'll go to a local bookstore, because I definitely want to make sure to support some local bookstores today. I love my local bookstores. They are so great. They have great prices, great associates that I feel like are just my friends now because I go in so much. So I want to make sure that I go in there and support my local bookstore. So without further ado, let's go to the thrift store. For the other Goodwill, so I figured rather than turning around, that street just has a lot of traffic, that I would go there after I pick up my daughter from school. So I ended up just taking myself to my favorite local town that's nearby, just the cutest little downtown area, and I figured that we would stop at the local library because the local library always has a little library sale. There's always books for sale, and I found some really good ones there in the past. And then right across from that library is a local bookstore. I don't generally buy books at that specific bookstore because they're generally really expensive, but they do sometimes have a bigger selection than my favorite local bookstore that I feel like has amazing prices, and just like their reward system is so good. So I still want to go in and see what they have and see kind of what's what. Thank you. car, and it's time to go get my son, so I'm just going to drive and pick up my son and listen to a little bit more of my book club audiobook. I'm so behind. It's literally tomorrow night, but I always do this to myself. I always just end up putting it on 3 times speed, especially if it's a book that I generally wouldn't pick up. I am really enjoying this book. By the way, that book is The Small and the Mighty. It's a history of, I think, 12 Americans that are just not taught about as much in our curriculum as other specific Americans, and so it's been really cool to learn about them and how they shaped America. The author's a really good storyteller, I will say, so even though I wouldn't have necessarily picked this up, I'm enjoying myself, but I've just put it off because I've just been reading very fun fall books. I really need to get that done. I'm gonna go pick up my son, and then we are going to stop at my favorite little bookshop before we head back home and maybe do a little bit more packing, and then once we pick up my daughter, we'll go to that other Goodwill and see where that takes us. Literally can't believe I've been to 4 places and it's just barely 11 in the morning. Hi, how are you? Good. So we stopped and made a little pit stop at my favorite coffee shop, even though what I'm drinking is water because my throat is so horrible. But we went to my favorite local bookstore and my son was getting so antsy. And what I normally use to bribe him with is the bakery next door or the burger shop next door, and they were both closed on Mondays. So we're just having a little break at the coffee shop, and then we're gonna go home for a bit and reconvene once I pick up my daughter, which is just after lunchtime anyways. But it was so cute because while I was looking at stuff at the bookstore, one of my favorite booksellers came up and gave him some crayons and a paper to color, and he was like, I want to bring it to the guy at the coffee shop. And we are such frequent flyers that I knew exactly who he was talking about, and so we brought the little artwork for him and he gave us a free chocolate croissant. It was so sweet. So we are just finishing up that and then we're gonna head back and I will reconvene with you guys later. You ready to go back home and have your Lunchable and take this home? Okay, all right, finish up your water and then put it in the green bucket. and so I wanted to go through a little haul with you guys on what I got today. I also just wanted to say before we get started, again, this is not a normal book shopping day for me. This is definitely more of a birthday haul. Any other day, I definitely wouldn't have gotten this amount of books. But I'm going to go through them with you because I'm so excited about them. There are definitely a few that are still on my mind that I don't want to say I wish that I would have gotten, but I was kind of strategic about which ones I didn't get because I thought those ones would potentially be the ones that I got for my actual birthday from my family. We went to a total of 7 stores today, which is literally every single bookstore or good thrift store that's near me. First things first, I wanted to start with one that was kind of unexpected for me. I am very much in my mystery thriller era. Ever since I started reading the Natural series, I have just been wanting to read more and more and more because I've had such a fun time with it. And so I decided I got Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew. First of all, I wanted to say this is blurbed by Cassandra Clare, which is one of my favorite authors. I feel like her writing was very formative for me and her stories were very formative for me and kind of shaped the books that I enjoy. So I'm always excited to see her blurbing a book. But yes, this is called Your Blood, My Bones, and it just sounded so interesting. The tagline is "A girl who will not love, a boy who cannot die, a twisted destiny neither can escape." Basically, it's about our female main character. Her name is Wyatt, and she's just inherited a farmhouse, and I think there is something as far as her family that there's just some bad history there, or at least some traumatic history I'm getting just from the back of this, but she is going to the farmhouse that she just inherited, and honestly, she, rather than sell it, she would rather just see it burned to the ground. But she goes into the basement and she sees strung up her childhood friend Peter. Now, apparently Peter is semi-immortal. Wyatt does not know that, and he has suffered hundreds of different ritualistic deaths on her family's property, and the only way for him to break out of this horrible cycle is to unalive Wyatt. With Wyatt's parents gone, the spells protecting the property have begun to unravel, and dark ancient forces gather in the nearby forest. The only way for Wyatt to repair the spells is to work with Peter, the one person who knows how to harness her volatile magic. But how can she trust a boy who's sworn an oath to destroy her? When the past turns up to haunt them in the most unexpected way, they are forced to rely on one another to survive, or else tear each other apart. I haven't really heard anybody reading this. I just was really attracted to the cover, and then I read the back and I was like, wow, that actually sounds so interesting. It seems very short and it just has me really, really excited to read it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait for October, but that was my mindset, is that this would be perfect for spooky season. And then speaking of the Natural series, I got the last 2 books in this series. I have recently binged the first 2 books in the series in the past week. I really, really enjoyed them. I rated both of them 5 stars, and so I decided that I wanted to get the rest of the series. It is not available on Kindle Unlimited, which is why I have been buying them physically. I also feel like eventually I will reread them just because I've had so much fun with them. I would highly recommend this if you are somebody who's been wanting to get into mystery thrillers, but it's not really your genre. I feel like this is a very addictive, approachable story series, and I like that there's just a hint of a romance subplot throughout them. Nothing too crazy, so I'm really, really enjoying this. And then at the library sale at a local library just outside of my town, I end up getting 2 books. First, I got Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I've heard amazing things about this. I didn't know what it was about, but the back of it sold me. Apparently, we have like a male main character who wakes up and he's in an alternate reality. Actually, I think it's important to note that he wakes up after a kidnapper knocks him unconscious, and he wakes up in an alternate reality, essentially. Like, his wife is not his wife, his son has never been born, his entire life is so different, and so he is trying to come to terms with which of these lives is the real one and which is not. Dark Matter is a mind-bending thriller about choices, paths not taken, and how far we'll go to claim the lives we dream of. Really excited for this. I'm not generally a sci-fi person. I mean, I don't think, because I haven't really gotten into it, but I trust the people who have recommended this book, and it's short enough to give it a try. Sounds really, really interesting. I don't know if I want to do this for fall or winter though, but we'll see. Then I also got a bit of a regret for me. I got First Lie Wins. They had it for $7. The other book was for $4. But then when I went to my local bookstore, they had it for even cheaper than that with my discount. And so I was kind of sad about that. But regardless, the back of this sounds really, really interesting. I think it's kind of like a person who, I want to say she's like a spy or a plant, I think you want to say. I think that's what it's called. And she is sent to essentially be a part of this man's life. I think she ends up like marrying him or something like that. And it's supposed to be like a cat and mouse story with our main character essentially assuming an identity that doesn't exist, that isn't her. And I think the person that she's with, either married to or basically assigned to be with, she starts to form feelings for him. And I'm not sure where it goes from there, but some of my friends have read this book and they rated it very well. And it also has good reviews on Goodreads, which I feel like most thrillers don't tend to have great Goodreads reviews. I felt like this was a safe bet. Just a bummer that I could have saved a few dollars, but it's fine. Okay, so I have 2 books left. Second to last is a book that I just finished and I'm absolutely obsessed with. I got access to this early as an ARC copy from NetGalley and I absolutely loved it, so I knew I wanted to have it for my shelf. I definitely am going to want to reread it, I feel like, too, just because I absolutely love this story. And that is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. My local bookstore has the UK cover, and I just love the UK cover. I think it's better than the US cover most of the time. I think really all I can say about this is it's a prequel to the Divine Rival series. You do not have to have read the Divine Rival series to read this. I think you'll still really enjoy it, specifically if you are somebody who really likes yearning, who really likes very romantic stories. I would say this is a fantasy romance, and what I like about this is the romance is written really beautifully. It's not like a lust kind of a situation, which I feel like a lot of fantasy romances have. It's just so beautiful. I loved this story and I can't recommend it enough. Oh, actually, I have 2 books left. I totally realized that there was one on the bottom that was hiding. At the first Barnes & Noble I went to, I was looking at this specific book on the shelf, which I probably already said in my voiceover, but I was obsessed with this cover. I've been really attracted to fall type romances lately. I've never really gone for those, but I've been very attracted to them lately. And as I was picking up this book and looking at it, the manager came up to me and said, you know, if you go and buy a drink at our cafe, you get this book for $5. Might as well do it that way. I'm really excited to read that this fall. Whether I get to it in October or November, I'm not sure, but it's so cute. And it's really short. It sounds very, very interesting, so I'm excited to give it a try. Okay, for real, the last book that I got, I might be the most excited for. I don't know, I'm excited for pretty much all of them. But this is one that I have seen for a few months now that people have absolutely loved, and it's been kind of hard to get my hands on, but now I feel like it's just getting restocked. It's In the Veins of Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy. I don't know anything about this. I think it's a fantasy romance. I know it involves sirens, and I know it's supposed to have really good yearning, like a really good love story. That's all I know, and that's all I want to know. I want to go into this very, very blind, and this one might be my birthday read. We'll see. I'm super excited about this one regardless. The last thing that I got that I wanted to show you guys at Barnes & Noble is not a book, but I thought it was so cool that I had to get it. It is the Bookworm Dice Deciders. It looks like this. It is essentially supposed to help you decide your next read. You just rolled them both. One dice is categories, it's got genres in it, and then the next dice is where you go to grab that. So either the library, your TBR pile, your shelves, or I think one of these even said going to a bookstore to buy it. And I thought this would be so fun for a reading vlog. So let me know if you guys would want to see me use this for a reading vlog. I think it would be so fun. Super, super excited about this. But that does bring us to the end of this video. I had such a great time. This is very out of the norm for me to go to like tons of bookstores in one day, but I had such a great time. If you stayed to the end of this video, you are a real one. Leave me a magnifying glass emoji if you have, because I think the genre I got the most of was like mystery or thrillers. As always, guys, thank you so much for being here. I have so much fun making these. It's like my favorite hobby right now other than reading. So if you liked this video and you liked me, I hope you stay a while. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!